Watching things shift in real time is always such a fascinating endeavor. It is such a mental exercise to witness things. Here, let me just show you something very important about the narrative change upon discovering that the person who the perpetrator is of Caucasian descent and a very God fearing man. So, we can see here to bring back the penalty. Insane statement, we see that. And then, enough is enough. Rep Nancy Mace comments on reports of Charlie's killer allegedly being and you see the word, you know the word, footage from Caden Olsen. So that was a whole thing. That was nuts. So, we know Charlie Kirk would want us to pray for such an evil and lost individual like Tyler Robinson to find Jesus Christ. He will try to do the same. Very insane shift. Very insane shift. Maybe her emotions were really radical at the time because of that. But when she discovered the name Tyler Robinson yesterday, because this was before we could see the dates, the 10th, when they didn't know who it was, they were like, maybe it's a person of trans descent. That's what they were saying. And then they say, we truly believe if Tyler Robinson had ever sat across from Charlie, the great debater, the man of faith and grace he was, Tyler, wouldn't have pulled the trigger. So, whole thing here. Immediate shift. The shooter was not a Muslim or an immigrant. Immediate shift is what we're discovering here, right? Now, this is a higher official. This is a government official, somebody that churns outrage. That's what I hate. I hate this because they're pushing this narrative. That's what I hate. I'm not blaming other Caucasian people. Heck, I'm not even blaming other Republicans. I'm blaming them being corrupted by people such as this woman who is in a high government power. She's a representative. That's why I'm mad at. So let's keep going a little bit. So this post got taken down. You're probably wondering what this post was. What could it have possibly said? Now, I know a lot of white guys look the same, but you can't be doing this baseless accusation because this is clearly not the thug Tyler Robertson. I spelled his name wrong. I apologize. That's on me. They had posted just a random image of some guy in this leftist propaganda shirt. Now, on the left, I do want to point out that they are spreading this fake image of Tyler Robinson in a MAGA shirt because that's just fake. It's just not real. That's just not real. I've seen it around. I've seen people saying, oh yeah, this is a real image. This is a real image. This image is not real. This image is not real. This is not a real image. This is a fake image. This is a photoshopped image. This is a deeply photoshopped image. That's just fake. He also did not donate to the Trump campaign. I'm not going to point out. He did not donate to, I want to give you some facts as I'm doing this. He didn't donate to a Trump campaign at all. He didn't donate 250 and he was not wearing this shirt. He did wear a Trump costume for Halloween. He did do that. That is a thing he did. He did wear a Trump costume for Halloween. That is something that he did. But it's Trump carrying him is what we see here. So that's happening there. So I just want to put a few things out because I see a lot of misinformation going around. So people are praying for him. I know they're praying for real justice, but they're saying Tyler Robinson was turned in by his own father. Wow. It looks like he may have been quite intelligent. What happened with this kid? This all seems very odd to me. They need to check if he has a therapist and or if she was on SSRI's Pepultra. This is very important. It's very important. They need to check if he has a therapist. They need to check if he has a therapist. Because what they're saying is that if he had a therapist, the therapist may have radicalized him. And this is going on over and over everywhere. And I want to point this out that they have, I don't want to use the word they, that feels targety. The media, let's say the media, because I want to point out the media. The media, the blue checkmark people have often said, oh yeah, we shouldn't make jokes about this. And then there's people that will over and over and over again defend this and say, we shouldn't make jokes about this. And you're right. You're right. We should see the value of humanity in another person. I want you to hold on to that statement that I just said. Hold on to me saying that you see the value of another person in humanity. 5 years sober. George Floyd is 5 years sober. George Floyd is 5 years sober. 5 years clean, crime-free, proof that change is possible, respect. George Floyd is 5 years clean. It's a video marking the anniversary of George Floyd being 5 years clean. George Floyd made it to 5 years drug-free. That's what's going on there. So why did I show you that? Well, George Floyd has been drug free for 5 years, right? He's been drug free for 5 years. Why has he been drug free for 5 years? Nah, that doesn't make any sense to me. Why has he been drug free for 5 years? Doesn't make a lot of sense. Well, George Floyd, he was on FET. That's what he was on. He was on the sleepy, lean one. That's what he was on. The one that makes you lean in the street. That's what he was on. That's true. 100%. Still was attacked by a cop, but the circumstances around it are sketchy at best. Horrifying situation that happened there. But happy that he's 5 years drug free. And that's dark humor. And I think it's funny. Not gonna lie to you. I do think it's funny. I do. I think it's funny that they can make jokes and we can't. And I'm using they as the media, I'm not using they as Republicans, because I think that if we keep separating Republicans and Democrats and keep doing this, we're not seeing the outrage machine that is happening. And this is very important for me to do this, because I think we need to change the media narrative. I think we really do. Because let's look at the legacy Charlie Kirk left behind. And I want to preface this by saying something about my uncle who passed away. My uncle who passed away got an 8-year-old. Let me phrase this better. My uncle who passed away got somebody in double digits and single digits. Somebody that was still in Algebra 1. Let's use that phrase. Still in Algebra 1. Got them to carry a child. And the woman is no longer of this earth. The child is in foster care. And the child is now just, not going to talk about that. Anyways, they're just not, in the server anymore. Let's use it that way. Let's phrase it that way. Lost for words when I was thinking about it. And when he passed away, everybody who's remembering is saying he was such a kind person, a good man of faith, a Christian, because he was a Christian, a good man of faith. That's what he was. That's what my uncle was. And I went up to the podium and I explained all the horrifying evil that he's done to my family, to everybody, because that's what I always do. I'm not going to let anything slide. I've been kicked out of funerals so many times. Recently, I wasn't allowed to be at a specific funeral because, no, it's not. I'm not going to let it slide. I refuse. That's how I've always been. But not everybody's like that. They always want to see the humanity, because the loss of a life is a very tragic thing. And we should honor the legacy of the people that have passed. And I do agree we should honor the legacy. Charlie's legacy. What has Dr. King asked? Now, we could use Grok here and see what he says. Let's ignore what Grok said. Let's go to a fact check. What did Charlie Kirk say about MLK? This is the statement. He is, let's see here. He has said that the Civil Rights Act was a huge mistake. Now, upon reading this article, he did say that. And they verified the quote. And I looked through and I checked everything. They did verify that he said the Civil Rights Act was a mistake. And I thought it was out of context. I had naturally assumed that it may have been out of context. My thought process was that this is an out of context statement. Maybe he just straight up said it. He said it in an aside. He said, Civil Rights Act was a mistake. Black people were more civil before it because they had restrictions. It's basically the intent of what he said. And I was confused by this. I said, okay, the great debater, Charlie Kirk, said that? Why would he say that? That's interesting. Does he believe those values? He believed those values because he was preaching those values. Because he also said Martin Luther King was awful. He's not a good person. We found that the quote about King was correctly attributed to Kirk. And he was not playing devil's advocate. I was thinking maybe he was playing devil's advocate, because I always want to get context behind clips and context behind statements. He was not doing so. Same with the context behind the most controversial clip of him saying that he would let his immediately double-digit age daughter carry a child to full term because he said, and people said, watch the full context of the clip. So I did. And so when I was watching the full context of the clip, he said, wait. Why should I punish the baby because of another person. Using, but you know, I'll give you that. I'll just let that slide and ride. So that's the legacy that, he left behind. And I'll give you that. I'll give you his legacy. I will give you his legacy. And it's so interesting that now that we know who Tyler is and we're learning more about him, there's this racism of low expectations, if I could phrase it that way. There's a soft, condescending bigotry of immediately assuming that violence would come from the other. Because as soon as Tyler was discovered to be of some American, natural-blood soil person, which is white, the media did what they do best. They didn't call him a thug. No thug statements. No thug. He was ideologically possessed. He's not a terrorist. No. They dropped that. The face appears white. He was a smart kid. We're praying for him. We knew that if he could talk to Charlie, we got to be Christians about this. He is a troubled, lonely, a quiet boy. He was good. His family just didn't do it right. His own dad turned him in. Prayers are beginning. For his soul, we are asked to consider his pain, his struggles. We are told he was bright. He came from a good family. He did come from a good family, conservative family. He must have been corrupted by some outside force. What was it? Video games, the dark web forums, medication, anything that can serve as a metaphysical scapegoat. His evil is transformed from a choice into a contagion. Something that happened to him rather than something he chose to enact. It is a refusal to apply the same analysis that they give to everybody when it wears the same face as them. They don't want to see a mirror. They don't want to see that. And I've seen people that didn't know Charlie Kirk, didn't know what he said. They're saying, oh man, he was probably a really bright guy. I heard he just debated people and he destroyed for his opinion. And I agree that you should be able to say crazy, wild things. I agree. I will stand by that 100 times out of 100 times, because I say some crazy stuff and I would like to be able to say it, and I would like not to be harmed for the things that I say. And I would love that. That'd be beautiful. We could all just talk and piss people off for fun, just to do it. I would love to just piss people off and them not punch me in the face. That'd be great. But it's dishonest. Because people are going to get pissed because words have such a great and tangible power. Words have the power to unite and divide. That is the beauty of words. Words can fuel an entire rage machine. And the irony here is that we are watching words divide and destroy and cause violence when that's not the goal. We shouldn't have done that, because you want to honor Charlie Kirk's memory for the man you believed he was. Do not let words drive you to violence, because that's not honoring. Remember, you're acting just like Tyler if you let words drive you to violence. But it's left. It's your side. I'm not leftist. Keep it a stack with you. I'm not even a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a conservative. Not a centrist. I'm human first always. And I have spoken to people that would rather drag my soul through the shutters than have reasonable conversation with me. Compassion, it seems to be, is a weapon wielded in reverence. Because when it's not somebody, it's not any of the pre-approved enemies, we gotta figure out why this white shooter is betraying his race's innocence. This doesn't make any sense. I don't know what's going on. Why? The black shooter is a symbol of his race's failure. That's what happens. Because they don't care about the shooter. Not about the victims. Not about anything. It's always about the story. A non-white perpetrator will always confirm their worldview. A world under siege by the other. A world that needs more police, guns, walls, something more. And they can't use this as fuel. So it's kind of dropping off. The Civil War is losing steam. Strange, isn't it? It's strange that they're losing steam now. There's no big war. What's happening? Where's the steam at? It's gone. Don't got anything. Because the media, when I say they, I mean the media, don't care about evil. They will always care about useful evil. And I'll say this over and over again. It's not evil, it's always useful evil. An evil that can pass their laws, righten their base, and consolidate their power. That's the only thing that matters. That's what's going on here. They're not going to say that this was, well, a white conservative male, because what I'm seeing is that they're calling the shooter conservative. Why are they doing that? Why are they calling the shooter conservative? Seems strange. I don't know if we got confirmation that he was conservative. Is there some deep, stark confirmation that he is? There's some deep, stark, because it's by fellow conservative. And that seems a bit twisted. I don't think that we confirmed that, did we? I don't think we confirmed that he was conservative. Did we confirm that? Seems a bit strange to confirm that right there. Seems odd. Seems odd to say that. Seems strange. But I want you to realize this. I want you to look at this moment in history. I want you to look me in the eyes. I want you to look at this moment in history. I want you to look at this moment, this movement, this perpetual well-oiled machine that was trying to bait you into deep civil war and rage 3 days ago. I want you to look at that. I want you to look at the anger. I want you to look at the fact that they thought it was somebody other, and what other means to the media. I want you to realize that, because the FBI director, and I'm going to pull this up. It wasn't, I wish we could blame. This is an insane statement, because in the conference right here, I wish we could blame it on someone else. And this isn't the exact quote. Up here, this is not the exact quote. This is a little bit dishonest, so I'm not going to say this. He said, I wish we could blame someone else. But it turns out it was one of us. He means people of Utah. From another country that he was not one of us, because we are not like that. But it was one. This is the exact quote. For the last 33 hours, I have been praying that this person was from another country, that he was not one of us, because we are not like that. But it was one of us. This is very telling. It's very telling how they want enemies so bad. They want someone to be somebody that's not them so bad. You've been praying for an enemy. You have been praying for an enemy that is not a mirror. You were praying for an enemy that was not a mirror. Why? Why were you praying for an enemy that's not a mirror? Take a hard look at yourself. Genuinely speaking, take a genuine look at yourself and realize what's going on here. This is sad. It's not fun. This is not a fun moment. I'm not excited about this. I'm not.
I'm your nigga night, be my Laurel. Happy to try what you need. Your world, I love to live in it. I love the ride when you're free.